Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric tabletop role-playing games and we stream them for you here on Twitch and then put them on YouTube because you might be watching it there. Hello. So we've run a bunch of other stuff before, but tonight is the first night we're doing Blades in the Dark, which we're very, very excited about. And before I get started with talking to you about Blades in the Dark and introducing our players and stuff like that, let's get that boring promo stuff out of the way. So we run a number of weekly games. We run Monday through to Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the evening, each of those nights. Mondays is currently Call of Cthulhu. Tuesdays, this is currently going to be Blades in the Dark for a while. Wednesday this week, tomorrow, is going to be a little bit of an experimental thing where we're just hanging around chatting and talking about role-playing news, kind of articles, releases, things like that, and just being friends. So hopefully you enjoy that. But then next week, we're starting another new system. We're starting Coriolis from Free League, which is essentially kind of Firefly meets Tales of the Arabian Nights. So that will be fun as well. We usually play Vampire and Symbaroum on Tuesday and Wednesday, but they're on hiatus at the moment, but we'll be back sometime soon. We also run weekly one-offs. They happen on the first Saturday of every month. The more Eagle aware of you that works will realize that means there's one on this Saturday, and it's the Expanse RPG. It's being run by Chris for those regular viewers who might know who he is, and that's happening on this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, BST. All our times are in BST. And then on Sunday, it's a busy week, folks. On Sunday we'll be playing more Symbaroum over on the Free League Twitch. We're guesting over there at the moment, running a story called Fetters of Stone. Come join us for any and all of that. We've got a bunch of links down below, links to our YouTube, where all our VODs are stored, links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon. Come join us on any of those. We'd be delighted to have you. So one last thing before we start introducing people and talking about Blades in the Dark, let's introduce our stream manager, Steve. Steve's stream manages Tuesdays, and he's here to fiddle around with pictures and chats and just keep everything ticking behind the scenes. How are you doing tonight, Steve?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes. Me too, which is lucky because I'm running it. So if I was dreading it or in some way bitter about it, then... I've made myself bitter about it now.
I'll go. Oh,
probably best. All right, so let's introduce the players one by one, and as we do so, maybe we'll talk a bit about Blades in the Dark and the setting as we do so, in a way in which we have not prepared for in any way. So I hope the players are excited about that. So first on, let's bring on Pierre. Pierre is a regular vampire player on our Tuesday nights. Hi, Pierre. How are you doing?
Hi, Matt. I'm doing well. Yes.
Yes. So, Dustvol.
Yes.
Blades in the Dark is a kind of almost Victorian era industrial fantasy full of ghosts and lightning walls and blasted deathlands, and more importantly, horrible, horrible people. Scoundrels, in fact. Scoundrels like our crew, known as the Keepers, a band of daring smugglers operating out of the red light district of Silkshore. Why don't you tell us about your particular scoundrel, Pierre? Why don't you tell us about Echo?
Yes. Well, Echo, she's a sort of small, wiry woman. She wears all dark clothes. She has kind of wild hair. She has kind of bags under her eyes from all of the stress, I imagine, of living in such a horrible place. She also has like a mark across her throat, which, if you look really closely, maybe it has teeth or something. She often covers it with a big scarf that you can see in this lovely artwork that John has made for us. And yeah, she's a bit of a sneaky one, is she? She's a lurk.
A lurk, which is kind of, I suppose you could say, like the rogue class, but in some ways every class in Blades in the Dark is the rogue class.
But I'm a rogue's rogue.
You're a rogue's rogue. You're a classic rogue. Sneaky, burgling, occasionally stabbing. Yeah. There we go. So that's Echo. Let's bring on our second player, another one of our Tuesday night regulars. Let's bring on Justin. And Justin, There he is. Justin's going to be playing 3 Sheets. Why don't you tell us a bit about 3 Sheets, Justin?
Yeah, 3 Sheets. Just a straight up good guy. Wait, no, this is Blades in the Dark. No, Styron Brass, or 3 Sheets to his friends, is basically a kind of like drug addicted, angry dock worker / labourer / sailor from the Dagger Isles who really just enjoys finding out horrible things about people and exploiting it to their advantage. So he likes to sniff around for clues and follow people and find things out. That's what he's good at.
So he's just a walking Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Twitter, unlike Twitter, he prefers not to expose a secret, merely to use it for his advantage.
Yeah, use it to extort money, goods, and favours. So another member of this crew, of the Keepers, these daring smugglers, is a new player, or at least a new player to Tuesday nights. Regulars will recognize him, like they not get the clue from his name. We'll know him as Sam from Simbaroom and a few other things from One Shots and various bits and pieces. Hi, Sam. What are you doing here on a Tuesday night?
I just thought it was Wednesday and joined in. I have no idea. Is this not Simbaroom?
It's not Simbaroom, but you know what? We rolled a character for you on the off chance you turn up, as we do for every member of the Telling Tales crew. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Silver?
That was fortunate. Silver is a slide. She is kind of a bit of a talky character. She's generally has a bit of a smile, a sharp dresser, likes to visit pubs, visit bars, generally get to know people and make some connections, and then possibly not exploit them for criminal stuff.
I love
Horrifying.
Say
shocking.
She's a talky character, and the
unlikely.
image is like she has a bat over her shoulder.
That is a cane.
She just talks.
That is a cane. It does have a sword in it, but it's a cane. So.
Oh, that makes it better, does it?
She's carrying it over her shoulder in a kind of whimsical way, rather than threatening. Literally about to thrash someone. So our final player tonight, our final player for the Blades in the Dark series, is Tuesday regular and also sometimes stream manager and other things, John. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing quite well. I'm very nervous about what sort of chaos we're about to cause.
That's probably for the best. So why don't you tell us about your character, Brix?
So Brix is a cutter who's basically like the fighter of the group, and whereas other people perhaps do their chosen roles in the crew be out of some sort of a want of personal gain, Brix is very much, he does what he does because he loves it. He is a man who likes hurting people and apparently can't get enough of it just at the fighting pits.
Brix? Who's this Brix character? Oh, do you mean Shithouse?
Yes, also informally known as Shithouse, but not to his face.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely not to his face.
So these characters make up the primary members of the gang known as the Keepers. As I've said, a group of daring smugglers operating out of an abandoned lighthouse in Silkshore, the red light district of Duskfall. Duskfall, a major port town of the Imperium in a world where 1,000 years ago the sun was shattered, and now the land resides under an eternal night. Warding off the horrors outside their walls with their fantastic lightning barriers under the auspice and science of the Immortal Emperor. Not that Immortal Emperor, for those of you who are massive nerds. Yeah, there we go. Now, a word on how we'll be playing this. This is the first time of any of us to play Blades in the Dark, so have a little patience. If you have any tips or corrections, please do throw them in the chat, but be aware that if we make mistakes, it's because this is our first time doing it. So there we go. But we hope we'll get it right, and we'll get the. I'm sure we'll get the spirit of it right, even if we don't. So for anyone unfamiliar with Blades in the Dark, it works maybe a little bit different to the role-playing games you're used to. It's almost procedural in its nature. It's quite improv heavy, quite collaborative between the GM and the players, and it operates on a specific almost game cycle of kind of preparing to go on a score, on a heist, or murder or operation of some kind, then jumping straight into that after just the smallest amount of planning, and using things like flashbacks and various die rolls to try and back up the plan as it unfolds in front of you. Once you're done with that, you get a downtime phase where you can carry out things to try and kind of level up your crew and carry out activities and recover from the events of the score, and get a little chance for some actual, more traditional like social scene role playing in as well. And then all over again. That's the cycle. You just go again and again and again until eventually the characters die or become incarcerated or end up as lords of the night over this horrific dark city of thieves, liars, and killers. I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite excited about all that.
I'm going to have a pity on the city if we end up in charge.
Yeah.
Just alive would be good.
Yeah, that would be a good start. So with that in mind, folks, let's start talking about our scenario for the night, and hopefully we'll make our way quite a bit of the way through the scenario, but we're not anticipating hitting a downtime phase tonight. And if we start looking that way, I'll probably start scrabbling desperately for Deus Ex Machina to thrust in the way, because I have not prepared for a downtime phase. So, with that in mind, the Keepers, as I say, you operate out of an abandoned lighthouse in Silkshore, but that's not your hunting grounds, because like many crews in Doswell, you do not shit where you eat. And where you eat is a few streets in the docks themselves, which in exchange for favors promised and maybe some services rendered, you have acquired from another gang, a larger, more powerful gang than you, called the Grinders. And now you operate in this area, roughly smuggling things in and out. You have a bit of a working relationship with an individual, a Severosi anarchist called Decker, who plies his trade of pamphlets and small magazines and occasional uprisings from these streets in the docks. And you know what? We are going to open there, as you are being offered an opportunity, a chance, just a bit of work between you and the upstanding Decker. So our scene takes place in like a small courtyard, kind of one of those old Victorian courtyards in the center of a group of buildings that's more there because the building in the middle collapsed than any other sort of reason. There is a wild group of Severosi playing kind of their native instruments there, sort of extremely taut strung harps and occasional horn-like instruments. And there's a whole group of them kind of dancing traditional dances. Think of kind of Cossack dancing, I guess, that kind of thing, and wildly spinning around and squatting and kicking and all this kind of thing. And you're weaving your way through these over towards where Decker stands, surrounded by sycophants, supplicants, and toadies, preaching his usual wild mantras towards an adoring crowd. He's dressed as he always is, in simply kind of a loose pair of pantaloons, nothing else. He's very slim, very athletic, quite young, which is belied by a huge, long, tangled beard. And as he finishes his rendition of one sort of creed towards this group of mostly young, mostly extremely highly, easily influenced people, he rounds as he sees you coming through the crowd and waves off his toadies and beckons you over with a kind of arrogant flick of his wrist.
I think I am if he's noticed, I think I'm probably off to the side. I'm definitely trying to stay out of sight,
Keeping
but
the
then
shadows.
yeah.
Sure.
But
Who
then,
here's a good thing. I'm assuming that the person who generally talks for the keepers is Silver.
Probably.
I think she's
Well, I think I don't know. John, do you think
face.
Brix's confidence means that
he
he
knows
wants
these kind of
to
words.
put himself into the center of the conversation?
I don't think Brix has any real desire to be the talker of the group.
Mainly the
If someone else is the talker, though, he's going to be standing very close behind them.
Makes sense. But maybe I'll hang back with Echo.
Sure.
I will.
So, Silver, if you step forward at all, are you addressing Decker, or are you going to let him unleash his polemic upon you?
I'll talk to him. Fantastic speech today, Decker. Just wonderful. I can see why you have so many followers. It's you have a real way with words, and it's a pleasure to come here and listen to you. Really.
He steps forward towards you, kind of like his eyes, as always, kind of slightly too wide, slightly too manic, and says, "Aye, the fires speak through me. You know of this."
I can see them. I can feel the heat, Decker. Believe me.
I roll my eyes.
He kind of steps in towards you and puts like one arm very, very firmly, almost restrictively so, around your shoulder and pulls you off to kind of walk along a bit too fast even for the other members of the keepers. Kind of, you get the impression that they won't really be able to hear unless they either obviously scamper to keep up or have, for whatever reason, exceptional hearing. He leans into you, and you can smell kind of very odd tart scent on his breath, maybe an odd sort of Severosi type of mushroom that he's been consuming. And he says, "There is a job. Yes, you good people." And at this, he kind of like taps your other shoulder near where his hand is grabbed again, quite hard. You have done such a good job so far, bringing in pamphlets, important documents for the downtrodden of Duskfall to read, and well, things are advancing, Silver.
Well, that sounds fantastic. We've very much enjoyed working with you so far. What kind of job do you have in mind?
Oh, it is nothing too dangerous, nothing that a daring group like you could undertake. I'm sure there is an individual. They will be coming to shore not too far from where you make your home 3 nights hence. All I wish you to do is pick them up. And at this, he kind of like, with the hand he's not got clutched around you, he kind of, and bring them to the docks. Not to me. That would be dangerous.
Of course, we wouldn't want to bring any danger to your door, Decker. Yeah.
On Saltford Street, there is a house. The house of a doctor. Bring them there. Bring them there safely, without any followers or observers. And no blue coat attention.
Of course. Would never dream of it.
Good. You will be paid well, as always. You know my coffers are full for individuals who can work for the cause. And again, he slaps your shoulder a bit too hard.
I will. I'll grab his hand and kind of, shake his hand, like wrap my arm around him as well. Decker, anything we can do, we're loyal supporters and we'll go with you to the end.
Good. Come back to me when the job is done, when they are safe. Saltford Street, a doctor's house.
Does this doctor have a name?
Not yet.
I think at this point I will appear like way closer than you might expect somebody to appear, and say, "So is this person a willing participant, or are they other?"
Decker kind of slightly rounds on you, clearly maybe a bit uncomfortable that you managed to sneak up on him so easily, and says, "All are willing for this cause. All who I would deign work with."
Right.
Bricks and 3 sheets. Don't feel the need, don't feel the need to have to contribute vocally to any of this. But why don't you describe what you're doing with Silver and Decker almost scampering away? Did you try and catch up? Did you forget it and figure that Silver would let you know what the job was? How are you reacting to all this?
I am staying more or less where I was left, and just sort of looming over the party, keeping a bit of an eye on Decker, as he's a bit handsy at times, but like waiting for a signal from Silver if she needs it, but mostly just gazing over the party and thinking how much more exciting this would be if a brawl breaks out.
Sure. How about you, 3 sheets?
Well, I think I would have probably lazily wandered over to Bricks. Well, initially, when Silver was first jerked away, I think 3 sheets would have reached for a pistol in their jacket, and kind of had their hand kind of buried in their jackets as they approached. But by seeing that Bricks is not too bothered, probably just draw up beside them and maybe lean against maybe there's an empty cart or a crate or something, a barrel of something to kind of sit on, and then play absent-minded with something.
There's definitely all those things are here, but if you wanted a kind of a cart or a small wagon, there's a couple that have been pulled in there that have a couple of them have maybe barrels of moonshine in them, and kind of even some food for people to pick at for these revelers.
Well, I'll probably lean against them, not necessarily picking at anything, but maybe absent-mindedly fiddling with something. Sure. I'm not concerned about, I think this our contact is not trustworthy, but not doesn't mean there's any harm, at least for now. So I'm not overly concerned. It's just another job. What could go wrong?
It's Decker. You've worked with Decker. He has.
Yeah,
he's given us good jobs before.
Peculiarities, but he's good for the money. So
that's all that matters.
And that, I think, is all the information you're going to get from Decker. Cool. So what we'll do now is we'll move straight into the planning section of the score, okay? So the only information you've got, 3 nights hence, on the shoreline, not far from where you make your home in the lighthouse, an individual will be brought to shore. You have to bring them to Saltford Street in the docks to a house for a doctor. That's about it. And obviously avoid any unpleasant entanglements. However, as you're planning this, a complication arises. Not more than 24 hours later, the entire district of the docks is quarantined. Barricades are set up and manned by the Bluecoats around all ways in and out of it. Exactly why this is happening, you're not sure. There are rumors, plenty of rumors to be heard through Silkshore and all the other districts. The main ones are a particularly unpleasant infestation of ghosts and plague. Either way, not good news, especially with the Bluecoats barricading the entire way around this. Both the canals aren't barricaded, but they're watched over, and the roads have been barricaded. Nothing you couldn't perhaps creep your way around or even batter your way through. They're nothing fancy. They're small, kind of like wooden, kind of like police use now, like little wooden, they're plastic now, but little wooden bars, with a couple of Bluecoats manning them. Nothing huge, but still an inconvenience. With that in mind, we'll move into our planning. So the first thing that you guys have to do is you have to pick a plan. And there are 6 different plans available. They're not in depth. They're just, different approaches you could have to this. So the 6 different ones are assault, I primarily using violence as your approach, deception, luring, tricking, or manipulating, stealth, to trespass unseen, occult, to engage a supernatural power, social, to negotiate, bargain, or persuade, and transport, to carry cargo or people through danger. Now, I'm not one to prescribe, and you can use any. I could see any of those being prospectively used, right? Obviously, transport seems like it might be the appropriate one here. And what you do, you pick one of those, and then each one of those has a detail, and that detail is what you need to determine. And you don't need to go into a huge amount of back and forth. The entire idea of this is it's very, we're doing that, and then you arrive and you're there doing that, and then everything else gets kind of backfilled. So the detail for transport, if that is the one you want to pick, is the route and the means.
Oh, good. Well, I've already got ideas.
Okay. Get them out there. Get them out there.
Is there? We're at the pub talking over our home talking out our plans. And 3 Sheets, perhaps in a moment of drunk desperation or brilliance, says, "Why don't we take a route over the rooftops through means of my grappling hook that I've got sitting over there in that box of things that I've moved in with and brought for my mum's." But
and navigating Doskvold via the rooftops in most districts, absolutely a viable prospect.
Yeah. That's 3 Sheets. That's their plan. That's his plan.
It's worth noting, by the way, at any point during this process, as well as later processes, you could make an action roll if you want to get more information from me, right? Or even information I don't know, but we can make something up and kind of put it there. So if there's any kind of prep work you want to be doing for this, then go ahead and ask me for that. But it sounds like 3 Sheets is quite keen on a little rooftop adventure.
Yep. I think it's a good way to bypass any barricades that are on street level. I assume they're not barricading the roofs. The only alternative I can the alternative I could think of was less interesting. I would prefer to go via rooftop.
Obviously, you have a boat, and going by a canal could be another one. And the barricades wouldn't be they're watched, but the barricades wouldn't be in the way. So that's an option. But
my only concern about the rooftops is I feel like there's bridges that we'll have to cross, and there may not be easy ways to get across if that is where they decide to barricade.
It could be true, although in many places people have constructed, rough wooden and metal trusses that people clamber across every day for those very things.
Sail a ship
built up.
But climb across the mast.
Climb across the mast and time it. But absolutely that. Obviously, rooftops can't take you everywhere.
It's true. 3 Sheets is like, fine.
Okay. I don't know. I'm still in favor of rooftops. I like
perhaps we could take rooftops to the opposite side of the river, to the docks, or as close to Saltford Street as we can, load him into a boat and cross the river into
I see.
Saltford
Use the
Street.
boat as a means of extraction.
Can 3 Sheets make some kind of roll to work out what, to survey where the barricades are currently placed, and to see if there's a route from where we are in where we live. Is it in Silkshore? Yeah. Silkshore. It's like from where the bus has been dropped off to, is it something road?
Saltford.
Sure.
Saltford Road.
You can absolutely do that, but
what are the barricades that are going to be in the way? Are they going to be ones that are in the middle of the streets we can go over the top of, or will we need to go around them in? Yeah.
You can absolutely do that, but what I would say with regards to these things is that maybe going to a level of precision that Blades in the Dark tries to avoid.
Fair enough.
In that, what that will do, it's the engagement roll that when we start this score that will tell you where you are and what kind of situation you're in.
Fair enough.
So it's more the rolls I'd encourage. You can make that roll if you want. I would encourage more vague rolls like. I want to know more about this street, or like I want to know more about what's the mood of the blue coats, like things like that, rather than precise the geography of it. If you see,
is it possible? I don't know if this is at all possible, but I have a blue coat friend, a shady friend.
You do.
Can I use him in any way to maybe get a sense of what the if the blue coats are murmuring about any sort
absolutely. Like with all these things, if you want to utilize them for a real advantage, the best thing to do is to then employ a flashback while we're in the score.
I'm doing that.
To like it'll take a bit of stress, but can definitely be like the blue coats wave us through because flashback.
I think
stuff like that.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, but it's up to you. You guys can still make rolls. Like I did notice in the book, having said that you can make, and I believe you can make rolls. I think the intention is to ram through this bit as quickly as possible. But
the only other thing that I think I would like to do would be, I think 3 Sheets would be naturally inclined to find out about this doctor, probably by going, if possible, to the area, visiting some pubs and seeing if anyone's got any good stories about them. Or it may not be pubs, maybe all kinds of places where they, any places where we could find out what's this doctor like.
I think that's an ideal example of the kind of role that is well done at this this stage. So the schmoozing stat.
Is it a carouse stat?
Consort.
Or consort.
Consort. And I believe because I have your sheet open as my example sheet. Yes, you have a dot in it. So go ahead and roll that for us and tell us what you get.
Could one of us go with him to assist?
Yes, absolutely. If that's what you want, you'll take some stress for it. But if you're good with it,
okay.
Is anyone assisting? No.
Yeah.
Stress.
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Then
I'll go with him.
Yeah, Bricks, take 1 stress, and you can roll 2 dice.
Do I take the stress, or does Brick take the stress?
No, just the person assisting takes the stress.
Well, it's going to be a real heavy night. That's why Brick's taking the stress. we're gonna need Brick's used to going out on the town, but just
going to spend most of the night keeping him upright.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I rolled and I got 2 5s.
2 5s. That's great. So how the rolls in this work is essentially 1 to 3 is a failure. 4 to 5 is like not so much a partial success as a success with complications, and a 6 is a clear success. And if you get 2 6s, that's critical. So what you've got is that success with complications. There's a bit more detail to the rolls than that, but let's not go into them right now. Let's go into them later a bit, maybe when we're used to the system here. So for now, what I'm going to do is give you, as I say, a success on that. With probably minor complication or reduced effect. You know what? Yeah, let's go with this. So you don't go to the taverns in the docks, because this is around when the docks is being shut off, but you go to the taverns around Silkshore. There are plenty of people who work between the two, and you go looking for someone, and eventually you find someone, an old sort of beleaguered, wizened dock worker who kind of works near that area and is willing to talk to you in a semi-drunken stupor, on the condition that you kind of keep up with him. And you discover that this individual has worked in and around Salford Street and lived near Salford Street, and is now stuck outside the docks and having to stay with family. And they've done that for over 30 years. They do not think there is any kind of doctor, surgeon, leech, or physica on Salford Street. And the minor consequence I'm going to give you for this is, can you please, and if you want to resist it, we can talk about that and make a resisting roll. But can you find the harm section on your sheet, please?
Yeah.
And in the lowest, in the one section, in one of those sections, can you put horribly hungover?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Is that just not a standard effect?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Like, I think that surely, if 3 Sheets starts a job where he's not horribly hungover, has he done his job right?
If you want to try and resist this effect, you can do, which would be no, that's fine.
It's definitely part of the character.
That's fine. So all that means is basically when you think that being horribly hungover would affect the roll, you will get a lower effect on the roll. You don't need to worry too much about what that means, because that's kind of what's handled on my end, but let's just try and remember that until it's gone, and it will not be gone until the downtime phase.
Nice.
No stress, no harm, nothing like that goes until the downtime phase, other than in very specific circumstances. So, yeah.
Well, everyone, it looks like Jack has messed up because there's no doctor on that street, so he must be mistaken.
I guess we still take him to the address, collect our coin.
Perhaps our quarry knows the location of this doctor, or wherever it is.
Someone better.
So bricks, what do you think? Boats or rooftop?
Why not both?
Okay, so boats. How about half of us go via boats, half of us go via rooftop. We meet at the location.
Perhaps the people on the roof could keep an eye out for the people in the boat.
Yeah, that seems like a good. I'm happy with this plan. I want to go on the roof.
If this whatever he is turns up, and we've got to move him out of there, who says he's going to be able to go over the roof?
Yeah. So we got the boats.
Okay. That sounds good. So is this the approach we're using? A couple of people on the rooftops keeping an eye out. The cargo in your boat with you. Are you using your usual watercraft? As smugglers, I believe you started with like a large boat. I'm thinking kind of maybe the size of either like a very small barge, like sort of small enough to navigate the canals of Dostfall. But okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, then, the next step, now that we've worked out the detail there, is to make, I believe, the engagement. Oh, no, the next thing is to choose your load, folks. So how inventory works in Blades in the Dark, you don't choose which things you take with you. You choose how much you're carrying, essentially. And then as you go through, you can say, oh, well, one of the things I've taken with me is this, up to the limit of how much you're carrying. The swap for that, you don't get any kind of mechanical penalty, but you do get a kind of role-playing penalty in that as the different loads explain, and I'll just look here, you can go light, so you're faster, less conspicuous, and blend in with citizens, and that means you can carry 1 to 3 load. 4 to 5 is normal, you look like a scoundrel ready for trouble. 6 is heavy, you're slower, you look like an operative on a mission, and 7 to 9 is encumbered, you're overburdened and can't do anything except move very slowly. So, and then when it comes time to choose what kind of things you're carrying with you, you can either choose any of the items your particular playbook or class has, but you can also choose from a list of standard items, which I think may be on your sheets. If they're not, they're on the cheat sheet I've made up for you on the very last slide.
Does everyone who needs them have climbing gear or some like Pierre?
Climbing gear is a standard item, so yes.
I also have light climbing gear because I'm a lurk, or I can have it. I think I would want to go with light. I think for me,
okay.
Because although actually, if the plan is
if you're going on the roof,
if I'm going on the roof, then I'm probably not actually trying to remain as surreptitious as I would be. So I'm going with normal.
Sure. So you're going to go with normal. Who else is going on the roof, and are they also taking that tack? I guess, and this is just my guess, Silver might want to be on the boat because the boat is probably going to might have to talk to people.
Yeah. I think Silver would definitely like to go on the boat rather than the roofs.
Okay. So what load is Silver to go with?
I think light, just because most of my stuff doesn't really weigh much.
Sure. Absolutely.
Well,
Charm, your wit.
Exactly.
Well, three sheets suggested the rooftop.
but
Join me on
they're
that
also, I don't know if they're the best sailor with finesse for getting that boat
Come with
up
me,
and down
3
the-
sheets.
up and down these canals. They get up and down the canals, as they say on docks.
With your pounding headache, climb on high. Join me.
You're also, if we're reducing this to a dungeon bash, you are also the ranged, right?
That is true. I don't mind either way. So Bricks prefers to be on the boat. Is that right? Or
Yes.
and Silver
And I think
prefers to be on
Brick's
the boat.
attack is going to be your grappling hook.
Okay.
It's like,
In which
come
case,
with me.
I will take. I know what I'm taking. I'll take my long rifle.
No,
I'll take-
you don't
Oh,
have
sorry.
to determine
That was
items, just whether you're light, normal, or heavy, or encumbered.
Okay. Then I think I'll be normal.
Okay. How about you, Brick?
I think I will also be normal.
Okay. So we have Silver is light, and all the rest of you are normal. That's fine. So, like I say, you don't have to determine what you're taking yet. Basically, when you need it, you then say what's with you. And obviously, once that limit is reached in your load, whatever else you would like to have with you ain't with you. So, yeah, that's the idea. But having a higher load gives you more leeway with that, right? So then what we do is make the engagement roll. So we have to talk now about advantages and disadvantages, which go into the roll and determines the initial position for the score in progress. So you start out with 1 dice or die for sheer luck, and then we have to talk about major advantages and major disadvantages and why those should add or remove from the pool. So the first thing I'd say is the fact that this area is barricaded off and there is an unknown crisis happening inside it is definitely a major disadvantage. So I'd say that reduces by a die. What kind of advantages could we think of arguing for?
The fact that we're going for a 2-pronged attack.
Mm.
Yeah, sure, I think so. Yeah. Anything else we can think of?
We also have positive relationship with the dockers. So if we might run into contacts that help, like that we're willing to cover for us, or if say we were trying to escape from the blue coats, we might have someone who's willing to go. Oh, we haven't seen them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. And with the people of the docks as well. Yeah, you know what? I was all ready when you started that, Justin, to poo-poo that notion. But no, I think you're right. It does
unpoo it.
Unpoo it. Depooed.
Depoo it.
Grim. So that leaves you on 2 at the moment. Anything else we can think of? Advantages,
We're
or
really
if you're feeling really honest, disadvantages? I'm fine to leave it there, but unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
It's dark.
It's always
It's always
dark.
dark.
God damn it.
I think we're good there. Like, I think the thing is, I think an argument could really be made that it's actually 2 disadvantages for the barricades and the unknown situation inside. So I think we could argue also that there's an advantage for the fact that this is your this is your shit. This is smuggling. This is what you do.
Yeah.
So I think it evens out the same. I think I'd be inclined to put 2 disadvantages and 3 advantages. I think we total. So that leaves you with 2 dice. If we're happy with that.
What actual time of day is it? Because there isn't light or
I don't know.
darkness.
What actual time of day is it?
That's a good point. Decca didn't say when
Does
they're
it
actually.
matter?
Well, isn't there sometimes an hour of fog around dusk and
There
dawn?
is an hour of fog around dusk
Fog
and
hour.
dawn.
And it'd be easy to
do you
sneak
want
the
to?
boat in at dusk.
Bricks.
Yeah, you want to
Bricks.
go in at dusk? That sounds good to me. And you know what? That would make it. I think. Yes. So just a bit of flavour here. That would make it known as the Hour of Honor. In
Yeah.
Ooh,
sort of
right.
small
how
parlance.
inappropriate.
As it's getting towards night, maybe the chimes and the bells and the foghorns are sounding for people to start leaving work or for other people to start work. And in this hubbub and the fuss around these barricades, the rising fog, you are starting to try and make your way in. Was this an argument for an advantage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so. I think in the hubbub and everything, yeah, that's fine. So we'll go with 3 dice. I am convinced, moderately convinced. So let's
That's
make
all
a
we
roll.
need.
Here. Let's make this roll here. Yeah, I should reveal this. I think, shouldn't I? Yeah, it's not.
Sure.
Don't think it's something that's meant to be private. But okay, you have got the highest number on there is a 6. So that is a good result. You are in a controlled position when the action starts. So what this means is, let's have a quick word about position. So there's 3 positions in the game: controlled, risky, and desperate. And essentially, any roll that's made, I determine what position you're in, and that determines, to a certain degree, what happens when you complete that roll. So you are in a controlled position where this begins. So let's talk about where it does begin. I would say if you're in a controlled position when it begins, that 2 of you are already up on those rooftops at the edge of the docks. 2 of you are in the boats, or the boat rather, kind of moving your way through the canals. Huddled, large, heavy-looking, swaddled figure behind you in the boat, clad in rough scarves and layers of cloth and leather, kind of bundled up. Whoever they are, they haven't said a word since you met them on the shore, under the kind of flickering light of the lightning barriers. And now they're in the back of your boat. The fog is rising off the ink dark canals, and as the boat continues forwards, a voice calls out from the edge of the canal that says, "Hoi, who's that? Who's that there?" They sound authoritative, but somewhat hesitant.
Okay. So they're down below, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
I am sort of tempted to try and am I if I'm anywhere near them, I'm tempted to drop a large brick off of the top of where we are, down an alleyway somewhere to make a lot of noise to see if it can distract them, or make them pay attention to something else.
Sure.
Is
anyone kind of addressing them from the boat or anything?
I shoot a look at Silver as she's the talk of the group.
Who might address them?
Just because I'm aware, because you're split, I want both sides to have a chance to do something. We'll kind of determine who goes first or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I think it at the point that we've been definitely seen, I would address them.
Okay. Echo, do you think you drop this brick before Silver got a chance to talk?
If they tried, I would stop Echo from doing that.
Okay.
Okay. I am picking up 2 large bricks, and then my wrists are grabbed by 3 sheets, and I shoot him just
want to see how it plays out.
All right.
We can always
I'm gonna
lob
put them
them
down.
at them if it goes badly.
So Silver, what are you saying?
I think I'm gonna say, what did he call out? He said, like, who is it or something?
Yeah, who's there? Who goes there?
Oh, we're just passing through on our way to. I won't actually hesitate. On our way to Charter Hall, we have a delivery. Do first thing in the morning.
For someone important.
Oh, the docks are all off limits. You'll have to go around.
Can I have a flashback? I've got an idea for a flashback.
Yeah, go for it.
It would involve Pierre's blue coat person, and it could be us procuring documents that we might have on us that give us passage through the canals tonight for important business. Is that something we could try and do?
Yeah, that's absolutely
crazy?
something you could do. I think that would have to be Echo's flashback.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because there's a documents item. I'm wondering if we could get documents.
Yeah, you can use that as part of the load for someone on the boat. Yeah.
In case you're challenged, we have some documents that say we're supposed to be there.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. But ultimately, as Pierre's flashback, it's up to Pierre whether you want to do that.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Sounds good. So I take a stress, or 2 stress, is it?
It's between 0 and 2 or more stress.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'll just try and get to. That's one thing I didn't copy over, I think, was the table of how much stress. You know what? I don't think this is an unreasonable thing to have. I think it's just basically like the difficulty of being able to obtain these things.
It's 0 is an ordinary action for which you had easy opportunity. 1 stress is a complex action or unlikely opportunity. And 2 or more is an elaborate action that involves special opportunities or contingencies.
I think this is a one stress. Okay. A 1 stress thing.
So in this time of quarantine, I sought out my friend. I managed to get hold of him, which maybe was the hard part, and get him to maybe sign
there
up
are some permits for urgent things to travel through these the docks during this time. Yeah, you managed to acquire. What's the name of your blue coat friend?
He's called Darmot.
Darmot. Yeah, Darmot was one of the first blue coats kind of assigned to this barricading and managed to get his hands on some papers for you, for which he will definitely expect some massive recompense.
Look, I'll have a juicy someone to throw under the bus soon.
Absolutely. I don't think that these flashbacks require a roll or anything. I think they just then factor into the role that Sam is about to make, essentially. So yeah, Silver, off you go.
We're just passing through on our way to Charter Hall. We've got all the documents required.
Hold there! Don't move. You hear him kind of calling out further into what's this alleyway that kind of comes onto the edge of the canal, kind of calling out back to someone else, and you hear voices sort of just suspended in the fog, kind of echoing in this close stone alleyway. And you can't quite hear what they say, but the other voice seems a bit tired and a bit patronizing, maybe. And then the original voice returns in close proximity to you and says, "Oh, yes, I'll need to see them. Pole over to the edge." And you see kind of like a figure in the fog on the edge of the canal, kind of stood there, like leaning over and holding their hand out.
At this point, I make eye contact with 3 sheets and sort of hold up the brick.
What I want to do is
I'm not actually throwing the brick.
I think if there's any kind of doubt on the documents or any extended, looking at them, then we throw the brick.
Then we go full brick, so to speak.
We haven't got time to look at the documents. Over there's some criminal moving about.
Yeah. As Justin has mentioned in the private chat as well, Silver, that'll be one of your load taken up with those documents now as well. Or I believe if they represent one load, do they? Or
I will punt the boat over to the shore.
Cool. All right. So Are you saying anything, Silver, while you hand it over? Anything to help you with your what's going to be a sway roll?
I think just as Brick is pulling us over, I'll say to Bricks, perhaps it would be a good idea to get our friend as out of sight as possible, while they're looking at the documents.
All right.
And do you think Pierre taking a stress to throw the brick at the right moment to distract the guards, could that add a die, or is that not possible? Do you think? Like kind of
What,
like
as an assistant?
Yeah, kind of like, so they don't have time to check all these documents because over in the street there's some kind of action going on, like a window being smashed or something.
Possibly, but again, it's it's up to Pierre whether.
Pierre.
But yeah, I think that could count as an assist if that's what you want. Yeah,
sure. I think I'll wait until as like if he seems to be like, these don't make sense, I'll just be like, and into the window.
Well, I think you won't be able to add a dice after he's made the roll though. So
I see. Yeah,
that would be a different.
Okay, I think I'll add that stress to assist.
Okay. So take a stress, and as you do so, you fling this double handful of bricks down, and they smash in the alley like further behind. And the guy is kind of listening to Silver, taking the documents, and kind of like, now that you're closer, he looks quite young, like maybe 18 or 19, kind of a rough kind of mop of blonde hair. And clearly the kind of eponymous blue coat he has been handed down from someone else, because it is far too small for him, and he's kind of trying to do several things at once and looking at these documents. Silver, can you give me a sway roll, please? And can you add 1 die from Echo's efforts as well? This is controlled because that's where you started this, and if anything, you've only only helped that situation. But what I'm going to do for the documents is increase the effect.
Nice.
Increase the effect quite a lot to great, essentially. So yeah,
nice. I'll roll. As I'm handing him the documents, I might say, "Sounds like quite the kerfuffle over there. It was nothing serious."
The blue coat should look into that. Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you
that's the highest grade of disturbance that you can have on these streets.
Why don't you give me that sway roll, and you can take an extra die for it?
Okay, that is Pierre's extra die. Is that right? From Echo's.
Yeah, that's an extra die from that. Yeah, you don't get kind of like the only extra dice you get are from kind of yourself if you push a roll, take a devil's bargain, get someone assisting. There's no kind of conditional based extra dice. Like I can't go, that's a good idea, have an extra die.
Fair enough. Okay, I will roll. I got a 6, a 3, and a 4.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So that is a 6 under controlled. You do it. 0 complications, 0 anything else. So he kind of takes one look at your papers, and then sort of kind of tosses them back at you and says, "Yes, it's fine. Go on," and dashes back into the alleyway to investigate whatever that noise was. So for the purpose of it showing a little behind the scenes thing. Again, I'm not sure exactly how much I meant to show these things, but for the purpose of this tonight, we certainly will. One of the concepts of Blades in the Dark is progress clocks. So if you have obstacles or threats, they have kind of a clock associated with them, where the more actions you take under those things move you past the obstacles or make those threats come closer to you, depending on what's happening. And right now, there is a progress clock called Blue Cloak Barricades. And I am adding, and for that success, that was an effect level of great. And I am adding what is a great thing to that, which is 3 ticks.
Nice.
The smallest clock is 4, just so you know.
Sure.
Can you tell us how big this clock is, or is that?
I'm not sure if I'm meant to. I genuinely don't know. Steve, if that's something you could take a look at, but I'm not sure there is any guide on that. For the interests of, for the purposes of us talking about this mechanic right now, I will tell you Blue Cloak Barricades has a 4. So one more tick to get past it, as it were. And it doesn't always have to be rolled actions. It could just be, things you've done. or kind of aspects of whatever you're doing here. Yeah. I take it we're moving forwards.
Push off from the shore, and as we leave the shore, mutter, "Could have taken him."
Echo, we should move in case they search the rooftops.
I'm already like, woo!
What does that mean, Echo? What are you doing? Pull yourself together, Echo.
It's like doing all my
You're doing a
acrobatic
Zoidberg.
runs across the
Okay, right.
across the thing.
I thought you were just Zoidberging over the roofs.
I'm so happy.
Sure. So I think it's safe to say that you move forward a fair way through the canals. Keeping up with them on the rooftops is definitely challenging at times, but not not a thing of great difficulty. Occasionally there's a small gap between roofs you have to maybe leap over. On the top of all these rooftops in the docks, there's a great number of sort of almost like shanty buildings themselves, like huts that have been expanded into hovels, and you see even the occasional person kind of peeping out through past a curtain or through just a rough gash in the wall of a wood shack as you pass, but no one says or does anything, because if living in Doskvol for any amount of time teaches you anything, it's if someone is wandering over a rooftop, you probably don't want to get in their way.
You get a basket ball.
Do so, however, and definitely you can still hear this on the canal, but the two of you, Echo and Three Sheets on the rooftops, definitely hear it more. You can hear on the streets down below you. Let's say to your left and the canals to your right. On the street down on the left, you can hear what sounds like a sort of increasing susurrus of noise, of voices and feet and shouting. And thumping, and there seem to be a lot of people out on the streets, and they're not very happy with being contained in the docks. You can hear kind of a distant sort of shouting starting up. It sounds like it's getting a little bit fruity down on the streets of the docks.
I guess I think I'll go over to the edge of a rooftop and see if I can get a better vantage point. See if I can see something more.
Sure, absolutely. Well, why don't you give me a survey roll then?
Okay.
I think that's appropriate. No, you know what? Sorry, that is, my friends, the game master habit. I do not tell you what to roll. You tell me you want to achieve something, and then you tell me which action you want to use to achieve it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you not saying I want to use survey.
I want to wreck. I want to wreck.
Use a wreck roll.
You can't. This is the thing. You can technically. There's a kind of rule in the game of don't be a weasel, which is like don't try and exploit stuff by just using your strongest stat all the time. But on the other hand, you actually can, and all that will do is I will massively limit the effect if I don't think it's appropriate. Yeah. So you technically can, but it's entirely up to you what action you roll.
Silly thing. I do have some survey, so I am actually going to try and survey the scene and see what's going on.
There we go. Sure. Are you adding anything to it, or?
I think it's too late. But sure. I wasn't going to. I got a 2, so that's a fail. That's a bad.
That is a fail. It's a controlled fail. You can. Yeah, you basically think that if you wanted to get a better look at what's going on, because the fog has risen, it's really difficult. You can see motion down there. If you want to get a better look at what's going on down there, there is kind of below you a sort of open balcony area. And if
I'll go closer.
If you want, you can try and drop down there. You have no idea what's down there because there's a kind of opening against the wall. You could drop down there and take a look, which is, as you get, this is the thing with a controlled fail, press on by seizing a risky opportunity, or withdraw and try a different approach. So either you essentially give up on this or try and find some other way to do it later, or you can drop down to this balcony.
I definitely think that balcony looks sturdy as hell and would give me a good vantage point on the whole of this scene. So
Sure.
I think I want to see.
Absolutely. In that case, why don't you make me another roll? And what kind of action do you think you're going to use to get down to this balcony?
I think this is I want to say finesse.
I think finesse is the most appropriate as well. But as I said, you can use anything you technically want.
No,
I think finesse is dexterity and stuff, right? And like,
yeah, and presumably, yeah. So I think I'm going to finesse.
So this is a risky roll rather than in a controlled one, which is what you've been up to this state. But
okay,
are you going to push with any kind of thing, or
so if
maybe
I push,
get free sheets assistance to help you down? Would cost him a stress, but
I think I'll push myself. So I'll take 2 stress to turn this up to a 4 dice thing.
Okay, is it 3 at the moment?
It's 2. It's a 3 dice thing.
Yeah,
I was on 2, and now I'm on 3. My highest result was a 5, and the other 2 were a 2 and a 1, so it was a good thing that I pushed.
Okay. What's your stress like at the moment? Because I feel like you've taken quite a bit here.
I have taken 4 stress overall.
And is it 9 in total?
Yeah.
9? Yeah, okay. That's not too bad then.
She's just kind of sitting on the edge of a roof like, ugh.
So you got a risky 5, so you do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position. So you drop down to this balcony and you kind of peer over the edge of it, now a bit closer and just about able to see through the fog. You can see multiple, lots and lots of individuals, and they all seem to be marching around, some in the direction of the blue cloak barricades, and some of them kind of causing a bit of havoc in nearby buildings and shops. You also see that not a few of them are recognizable as members of a particular gang that wanders the docks frequently, wielding hatchets and butcher's knives and meat hooks. They are the bill hooks, and they do not like the keepers.
Ooh.
And
because
they're marching
you
with
lured
everyone.
away some rovers from them who now work for you. And they're not happy, and they're marching around down there. But it seems like there's a confrontation of some sorts building between the people of the docks and the blue coats, and maybe the bill hooks are taking advantage of that as well. As for your consequence, you sort of, as you you turn round to clamber back up onto the roof. As you do so, you see that this the gap into the side of the building behind you is like a rough stone archway, and in that room is a man with his feet up on a table, kind of smoking a pipe lazily, and sort of tipping himself backwards and forwards with his feet off the table. Leaning up against the side of the table is a long rifle, and around the back of the chair is draped a long blue coat.
Oh,
brilliant!
He has not noticed you yet.
Okay, I think sort of in like a sort of pantomime mime silence, I attempt to climb back up from whence I came, and we'll see if I can do that. So that would be.
So this is in a desperate situation, just so you know. Okay. So that would be. I mean, it's up to you what action you take, but finesse would seem to be appropriate again. Is there anything you're adding to the roll? You're getting assistance.
3 sheets would definitely help pull Echo up. I don't think being horribly hungover would stop you pulling someone up. But
no, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so.
If this was 3 sheets decision, they would kill the blue coat and then shoot one of the bill hooks with his rifle and make it look. Or in fact, 3 sheets might still shoot one of the bill hooks and try and blame it on the blue coats. Make the whole thing blow up.
Oh, actually, that's interesting.
But let's get you out of the situation first.
Well, actually, I could take 2 more stress to push myself, But I have an ability called the Devil's Footsteps, which allows me to maneuver to confuse my enemies so they mistakenly attack each other.
I don't think that counts when there's only one of them.
Well, I was imagining.
I can see what you're getting at,
but yeah, potentially.
Sure, but there is no bill hook in this. If you see what I mean,
sure.
Like,
they're not aware of me, so they can't attack.
No.
Okay, sure. I'll try. I'll just accept. How are you helping me? What's?
I'm giving you an arm to pull you up.
Okay, I'll gladly grab onto that.
So I take 1 stress, yeah.
Yeah, you take 1 stress, and now Echo, you get an extra die on that finesse roll.
So I'm rolling three dice. 4, 5, 3.
Okay. So you do it, but there is a consequence. You suffer severe harm, a serious complication occurs, or you have reduced effect. So,
do you choose this, right?
Yeah, right. I choose like the thing that happens, but then you can choose to roll resistance if you want. So I am going to say that the consequence is that you get severe harm. Severe harm's the highest one, right?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. That seems a lot for me explaining away in this circumstance. So you know what? Yeah. Let's do this. 3 Sheets heaves you up onto the roof, but as he does so, one gently kicking foot of yours dislodges a slate from the side of the roof, where there's a rim of slates around the roof, and it drops and crashes on the balcony below. You hear like a chair tipping back, as someone like stands immediately up, and they just shout, "Oi! Get someone on the roof!"
We need to move.
Let's move.
Absolutely, you do need to move. So it sounds like to me the two of you need to scarper as quickly as you can to the next roof, and that sounds to me like potentially another roll. What do you think?
Yeah, or we could do it more carefully.
Yeah,
and try and find somewhere to hide. Would that be a prowl type roll? Or
yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? Shall we show off another kind of roll? Shall we do it as a group action?
I think that makes sense.
So the way a group action works is that everyone rolls the same action, and then the highest number from the entire group is taken. But if any results, basically someone has to be nominated as the leader, and if someone other than the leader rolls a 1 or a 2 or 3 on any of their dice, the leader takes a stress for each person who does that. It might be the leader as well.
I think it includes the leader.
Well. Yeah.
So, I think I should be the leader because Echo is already stressed. And 3 Sheets might be ahead of them anyway, so they might be leading Echo by the hand almost.
So did you say that you felt that you might be using prowl to do this and trying to sneak carefully rather than just scramble and fling yourself from the rooftop?
I think we currently have the high ground, and B are the ones on the rooftops. And anyone who wants to come and get us needs to either get onto the rooftops or whatever. So I think if we scramble, people will be able to shoot at us from the streets. Whereas if we try and prowl and hide, then they have to find us first.
Yeah, I think that's very sensible. All right. Well, with that in mind, it sounds like Justin 3 Sheets is the group leader for this. So Echo and 3 Sheets, go ahead and roll prowl. Each of you can push or take devil's bargains or whatever as per usual, but obviously you can't assist each other. And this is a risky action, just so you know, because I figure you were desperate before, but now, like you say, you've got a lead on them, right? They're not on the roof yet, so I think it's just risky.
Okay. I think I'm just going to go for the neat roll. So that
all you need is 1 success between the two of you, right? So
I will push, and can I just push to get 1 die, or is that not how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. So if you push, you take 2 stress, and you you can. There's 3 different kinds of things you can get with pushing. You can add 1 die to the roll. You can add +1 to the effect, or you can take action when incapacitated. And you can technically do all 3 of those and spend 6 stress, or 4 stress for just 2 of them, or whatever. But if you want an extra die to the roll, then just take 2 stress and add an extra 1.
Can I push twice to improve both the effect and add a die?
You absolutely can, yeah.
Cool.
And I'd say that increases the effect of a success on this to a higher level, which will be probably great. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, I rolled a 6 and a 2.
There we go. How did Echo do? Just out of interest.
I rolled a 6 and a 5.
6 and a 5. So Justin,
Nice.
you take 1 stress for the 2 you rolled.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
No, I don't think you do. I think it's for results. It's like if I had rolled a 1 or a 2, if my highest result had been a 2, I think that means that is an overall stress.
You might be right.
Whereas it's not.
Yeah. Take 1 stress for every player character that rolled 1 to 3 as their best result. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Good spot.
Oh, that's good because I've got a lot of stress now.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You both sneak your way to that slate tiled edge of the roof, and you both find kind of 3 sheets. You find like a place where the eaves of the 2 buildings are kind of almost jutting together. You quickly just stealthily scramble across them, and you're off away in the rooftops. As you do so, you hear a voice back on the other rooftop saying, "Oh, forget it, lad. They're past our barricades now. There's nothing you could do about it, even if you went after them."
Classic.
Translation: blue cloak barricades. It's showing
all the clocks, all of the clocks, all of the clocks, all of the ticks.
And you know what? I'm going to let that 2 ticks of that, because you did 3 there, bleed over to the next progress clocks.
That's pretty good, guys.
Which is
call
essentially, I've called it through the docks and riots. So yeah, like I say, mixed answer. Steve says on progress clocks. There's nothing concrete about whether I have to tell you or not, but for the purposes of this first one, I think it'll help you understand how it works. Right?
Nice. I like it.
So
also, does that count as addressing a challenge with stealth or evasion?
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yes.
So I get some XP.
Although isn't. Oh yeah, that's your. No, well, not yet. You get that at the end.
Okay.
Because the only thing you do. The only XP you mark during the session is if you successfully complete a desperate roll, which you did.
Gotcha. Oh,
Pierre. Climbing up that finesse roll was a desperate roll.
Yeah.
So you can mark 1 XP on your tracker for the attribute associated with finesse, which
brilliant
is prowess. Yes, prowess.
Prowess.
Cool. Feels like we should join them down on the boat.
Yeah.
I'm going to say you heard that shouting. Probably not what was said, but you definitely heard some shouting up on the roofs.
And there's been a tile smashing.
Oh yeah, but we're way past that
yeah.
now. As you're polling along.
Well, that sounded bad. Hope they're doing okay up there.
Yeah. I'm sure it's us we need to worry about.
Yeah, you're right. They'll be fine.
So as you're polling forwards, kind of you are hearing more and more, even on the canal now. You can hear cries and the sound of kind of running feet and maybe a door being battered down from the inside. And it really sounds. Yeah, there is a riot breaking out in the docks as you're making your way through it. As you kind of pole your way forward along the canal, you can look down the alleyways, and in one of them you see kind of faint orange glow somewhere further off, a flickering orange glow further through the fog. Yes, violence is being done.
You tempted to join?
I'll look at Bricks like, please stay on the boat for now.
I've got a job to do.
Bricks is already off the boat.
Towards the swimming to shore. He does throw a look at the figure in the boat and say, "It's a bit more impactful than pamphlets."
Yeah.
Figure doesn't say anything, just kind of like they definitely hear you, because you see them kind of like tilt their head. You can't see their face. There's like a silk scarf over it. They tilt their face towards you and then kind of look out over the still waters of the canal.
I shrug and get back to navigating the boat.
I just hope they know where this doctor is.
So, I feel like while you have a fairly good grip on the waterways of the docks, perhaps now in the fog, in the riots, in the stress of the situation, is not maybe the best time to determine it. And I feel like it's definitely the two of you on the boat leading the ones on the roof rather than the other way around, because if you want to yell between each other, like, you're going to immediately get some attention, right? So why don't we have I think the two on the boat need to determine how well and swiftly they are navigating the waterways of the docks. What action do you think would be used for this?
Well, the only thing I think that I have that is even remotely helpful is hunt.
Sure.
But
just get a quick look at like a definition of hunt up. Just so
in finesse. I don't know if that would be appropriate.
I guess
hunt is more like when you use skill or expertise to locate something. That's kind of, I think that's what it says.
Locate your destination.
Would locating a street count?
It does say you can locate places.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think anything can be argued. It's just, like I say, it's the degree to which I think that would be effective in the circumstance determines the effect. But yeah, I think there's arguments that can be made for a lot of stuff. Even finesse could be muscle memory.
So is the challenge,
you roughly know where this place is, and you're just following your gut.
Is the challenge then that like it's foggy and it's hard to know where you are and you're getting a bit lost?
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, and it's a stressful situation, and perhaps every now and then you're having to pole a bit away from the canal side because there's a bunch of noise there, and there could be, people fighting other people, things you want to avoid. But it's entirely up to you which action you want to take. Silver can make rolls for it as well.
I think since we've sort of said that Bricks is the one controlling the boat, I would be happy to assist, if possible. Depends what Bricks wants to do.
Could I have a flashback to earlier in the day and getting some kind of a map or directions from someone who lives in the docks? Because we have good relations with the people of the docks.
Why don't you even have a flashback to that drunken old docker that you and Three Sheets drank with, and have a flashback to the end when Three Sheets was already kind of like, tottering away. I mean, I could make a pun on the name of Three Sheets, but
Three Sheets the wind.
Bricks kind of turning back to the old man saying, draw it down.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, good. That's a good
I was
flashback.
also vaguely thinking.
Yep.
Were you vaguely thinking anything in particular, or just vaguely thinking?
I think PM has lost sound from us.
My internet seemed to explode for a moment.
Okay.
Yes.
There was nothing on our end, so on our end it was even weirder. You just went, I've just been thinking.
Well, I was okay. So the thing I was vaguely thinking was offering a devil's bargain, which would be that you can navigate, but there is some form of stowaway arrives on the boat. Obviously, bargains are acceptable or not.
Stowaway, Brick, you could beat the crap out of that stowaway.
I can. I can definitely
Not
can.
necessarily a stowaway, but just like someone gets onto the boat.
Obviously, this is a great place to introduce Devil's Bargains. Anyone, myself, any other player, can offer a player a Devil's Bargain. You can't offer them yourself. Kind of can't go, oh, I'll take a Devil's Bargain for this, but someone else can come up with an idea and throw it at you. You'll get an extra die for the roll, and as a result, there can be collateral damage, unintended harm, a sacrifice of coin or items, betrayal of friends or loved ones, offending or angering a faction, starting or ticking a troublesome clock, adding heat to the crew or suffering harm, like any number of these things. I think the idea of a stowaway of some form is a great one. And yeah, but it's up to you if you take that Devil's Bargain. Why don't we talk about the flashback first? Because I feel like let's sort that before we do anything.
Sure.
So for the flashback, take 1 stress for doing that. And I will change your effect to great for whatever roll you're going to make.
Cool.
Do you want to take Pierre's Devil's Bargain? Now, I would also say just because someone offers it does not mean you have to take it. And I know there's this thing of like, oh, it makes it more interesting, but we could end up with it happening all the time. But I just want to say that. But with it, I think it's a good Devil's Bargain, but it's up to you.
I think it is, and with the skill that I have that is most relevant to this, it would only be a 50-50 chance of succeeding. So I'm going to take the Devil's Bargain.
Okay,
50 still good odds.
sounds good.
So
So what's action are you using?
I am using
Reg.
Hunt.
You're using Hunt.
Can I assist?
Yeah, you absolutely can assist. Take 1 stress for doing so.
Cool.
So you get 2 dice from that. You get another die from the Devil's Bargain. So that's 3 dice that you have.
Wait, I get two dice from Silver assisting. Or
No, you get 1 die from your own action, right?
yes, yes,
Yep. 1 die from the assist and 1 die
And
from
one
the Devil's Bargain.
yes. There is a 6 there.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
The others
So-
were a 1 and a 2, so I'm very glad.
You feel the boat rock slightly, but you don't know what it was.
That was 3 ticks now because of the effect increase. That was 3 ticks for this progress wheel. And you think you're making fairly good time through the docks. You're pretty sure you know where you are every now and then. You kind of reach into your pocket maybe and draw out the old man's
Without Silver seeing, obviously.
Scrawled map, and you think you're doing pretty well. And then out from the fog, out from the increasing cries on one side of the canal, a figure just bursts out of the fog and crashes down into your boat. The boat rocks wildly, but it's big and it's sturdy. I think we said it's a small barge, right? So maybe they've skidded over kind of the roof of it and are just kind of like scrambling back on. It is a young woman, obviously with a broken nose of some kind, and she kind of is hanging onto the edge and looks back at you and says, "Oh, I'm not here. I'm not here," and kind of ducks and hangs off the edge of the barge, obviously hiding from someone chasing her on the canal side. And I'm just adding some ticks to another progress wheel.
Okay.
One you don't want ticks added to.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Oh, well, I don't suppose you could. This isn't going to be one of the smuggler, stowaways that you're going to be smashing your head in, Brick. So, unfortunately,
I don't shout it because she's obviously hiding from someone, but like stage whisper, "You're bloody right, you're not here. Fuck off."
Get in the river. Get in the river.
She looks very disinclined to remove herself from the safety of clambering on the edge of your barge. Are you going to try and use an action roll to dislodge her?
Dislodge her with a barge pole. Just prod her, like, get off. Get off.
I'm guessing you're at the back, right, of this barge, so she's ahead of you. So
I'm gonna She's not currently a nuisance, so I'm
Sure.
gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep my eye on her.
Sure. Back as you're making, like I say, fairly good headway here, and you're moving, fast-ish for punting a barge along a canal. And behind you, from the gap between the buildings where she leapt from through the fog, you can hear a number of voices, kind of like, "Where'd she go? She was somewhere around here. Spread out and find her." She kind of glances over at you, and obviously it's very dark. Kind of, there's some light from kind of gas lamps hung over the edges of the canal, but you can just make out her silently mouthing, "Billhooks."
Right.
Well, that changes everything.
I kick her over some loose tarp or sacking. Say, "Get under it."
She kind of clambers along the barge and kind of dives. She's next to your cargo now, and kind of just heaps some netting and cloth over herself. And she seems fairly well hidden. I mean, if billhooks board your barge, then you've got bigger problems than them finding that stowaway.
But if billhooks board our barge, Brick's their biggest problem.
Sure, yeah. So I think we're making our way forward here. Why don't we cut back to the roof? So on this roof, Echo and Three Sheets, you're making your way forwards. I'm probably going to say that unless you've been watching that barge like a hawk, you probably didn't particularly notice the person leaping over onto it. And in fact, I will say that you didn't notice it unless you want to make an action roll to have noticed it.
No.
Nope.
I think Three Sheets will be busy muttering, "Oh, if we get a chance to get those billhooks."
Sure, absolutely.
Just give me a clear shot.
You're moving along these rooftops. As you're doing so, the situation down in the streets seems to be escalating wildly. You can see in the middle distance as the fog is starting to roll away now, and you can see a couple of buildings on fire. You can hear kind of like cries and the occasional crack of a gunshot. And further back behind you, you can hear many, many raised voices where presumably the people of the docks and the blue cloaks are having words with each other, but you are well past that now. But not what you're not past is a particularly long and labyrinthine set of rooftop shanties ahead of you. And one other thing you're noticing as well, incidentally, is a number of crows are starting to circle over the docks and slowly descend. Not ordinary crows. These are what I believe are called Death Seeker crows. Anywhere in Doskval, if someone dies, bells ring out in the Spirit Warden's temple. Crows emerge, find their way unerringly to the bodies of the dead, so the Spirit Wardens can recover them and dissolve them in their own concoctions of ectoplasm to try and avoid yet another tormented soul wandering the streets of Doskval. People are dying, which is probably no surprise, being what you can hear and see. So you're navigating this as I say, it's a labyrinthine rooftop shantytown ahead of you. Yes, Justin.
Have we managed to cross over into the docks yet, or are we still on the side of the river?
You're definitely in the dock. Yeah. You were in the docks as soon as you passed the blue coats asking for with
just
the
want to double check.
Yeah. You definitely are.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I indicate to the crows, and I'm like, I guess wardens will be coming. And so we're trying to get past this labyrinth of
shanty towns. Like you can't really see the boat because there's so much up here.
Well,
so is it just like really dense housing, basically?
Yeah. Well, I mean, housing is a strong word for what it is, but
sure.
Yeah.
Try and talk our way through. You know?
There doesn't seem to be anyone here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's deserted.
Mhm.
Okay, well then, I guess we'll just. Yeah, I think I'm just happy to.
Is the challenge kind of like physically working out the way to go, or is it more getting through? We know where we're going, but we don't know how.
I think it's
difficult to move through the space.
It's difficult to move through. I think if you want, you can just, I guess, not make a roll and just try and make your way through there. But given that you're on the clock, maybe you want to try some method of navigating through here without necessarily. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm also
How
of the same opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, how about we do the strategy of you're better at navigating and tracking your way through things. Can you find a path and then scout out ahead and see if there's any trouble?
Well, I think could I try and hunt for a path by kind of and I think how that differs from survey, I guess, is like I pursue lots of different avenues very briefly and kind of see which ones appear to be leading to.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I think it is reasonable. So I'm going to say that's a risky action roll at a standard effect. Are you doing anything to improve your chances in any way?
I have got a spyglass with me, which I'm now ticking, which I can use to kind of like look over the scene and see if I can
kind of clamber up a bit on one of the semi-collapsed hovels and look.
Yeah, see if I can spot a way through, or like spot any kind of like bridges or things that might indicate a used road.
I mean, that doesn't actually improve your roll. Just so you know.
Does it really not?
No.
Well, then
doesn't it
improve
equipment the outcome?
It could change the effect level, I guess. I can't see how it would massively change the effect level.
It's fair enough.
So I don't think it would necessarily. Equipment tends to be more for increasing effect or being able to do something in the first place.
Right.
Or kind of you have your flashbacks and modifiers, but I'm not entirely sure it would necessarily help into making it a great effect.
If it's not useful, is it fine to say maybe we don't need to tick it for yet? All right, okay. In which case, I don't think there's anything else to improve. I'll just roll it as is.
Sure. No pushing, no assistance, no.
No, I'm no.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I think like we've got two dice, and
that's a 75% chance to succeed. So.
Yeah, and if we don't succeed, well,
I played a lot of XCOM. 75% chances always come through.
Well, you know what? I rolled 2 1s.
That's the XCOM roll right there.
That is the XCOM roll.
That's XCOM, baby.
Yeah. So things go badly, and then it has a series of things. Okay.
If I only had my spyglass.
I have some things prepared for just this occasion. So
what? Ridiculous.
The two of you realize after a few minutes of kind of creeping your way through this shanty town that you think, impossible as it might seem, on even for a rooftop of a large building like this, you feel lost. And as you move forward through the shanty town, the noise from the streets seems to oddly start to mute and dull itself. And as you stealth kind of hunch over and make your way forwards, a gentle breeze starts. It was quite a still night before, and now a soft, gentle breeze starts, and then it increases and increases until it's almost like a stormy night. The tent sides and canvas and kind of rudimentary plastic sheeting and netting that make up the sides of hovels start to kind of like flutter and flap in almost a storm wind passing through this. And now the noises for the street are completely gone. There's an odd crackling around you, and both of you feel the hairs on your arms and the back of your neck just raise up. It's as cold as it ever is in Doskvol, and it's hard not to suppress a shiver. And ahead, through not far away, through the passageways of this shanty town, comes a soft sobbing, cutting through the air between you and whatever it is.
Okay. We I think I silently indicate the direction in which it's coming, which it's coming from. Is it getting closer? Is that the kind of...
Yeah, I think it's getting closer.
It seems it's tough to tell, honestly. It may be getting closer, it may be kind of stationary, but you get the distinct impression that unless you want to turn back, and if you turn back, you are basically abandoning Silver and Bricks to the rest of this, because the chances of you catching up are pretty minimal.
Okay.
The way forward is through.
Okay, so I'd like to have a flashback to because I was aware that this was a possibility. It could have been plague.
The rumor
but we also
of
thought
ghost infestation
might have been a ghost infestation. So I procured from one of the various shops or one of the merchants that sell arcane implements. I think I will have come with a maybe some sort of small thing that looks like a doll that is known to go, like, spirits like it, or like are attracted to it, or take, like often will confuse it for people or prefer it to them in
like
some way.
Kind of, like a an icon, a fetish of some kind that may or may not work.
I've just heard
some kind of lucky charm that you could try and deal with. So I think that's a 2 stress flashback. And I'm assuming you're advancing forward and going to attempt to in some way mollify or creep past whatever is lurking there.
So my intention is that I'll like nick my hand and put some of my blood on the icon, and then throw it away, like use it as a thing to, at the critical moment, get it to like run towards that rather than towards me, and then I'll try and slip past in the moment.
I was muted there, but distract it in some way. Like desperately try and distract it enough to get past. Sure. Let's give that a go. So I'm 3 sheets. Are you following Echo as Echo starts moving forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Both of you emerge kind of round a corner, as it were. We just had a raid. Thank you, Legio Necros. Round a corner into what's almost like an open area on this roof. Rearing up from the center of the roof is a large, what seems to maybe be an old, disused lightning tower. Now there's just a kind of faint crackling of static along it. At the foot of it, there is what appears to be sort of a large, collapsed shanty hovel, kind of long ago, months, years ago, perhaps. And all around it is kind of wreckage from other buildings that have tipped over. Something bad happened here on this roof. There are scorched beams and charcoal strewn everywhere. And in the center of all this, kind of like hunched and knelt over, is a shimmering, pale, whitish form that, as you emerge from around this corner, kind of like almost doesn't really turn so much as just revolves in place and then unfurls itself to its full height, taller than a human, long limbs kind of drifting side at its sides, and its hair sort of lifting and as if underwater. All you can feel static kind of crackling along those upraised hairs on your arms, and kind of you can hear like the spitting of it in the debris around you as it turns and faces you with its kind of full attention, and gently starts to drift towards you, like slowly, solemnly, oddly smoothly across the surface of the roof, and as it does so, you can't see features on it. It's too blurry and shifting, but you can sense that its mouth opens and a voice echoes over the rooftop, and it kind of it appears in your senses more than you feel it come from the apparition before you, and the words it speaks are, "Walls will fall." What are you doing?
Okay. I think I will sort of slowly walk towards it.
I will stop you there. So, anytime you encounter a ghostly presence within Blades in the Dark, the default reaction of a mortal who is not used to dealing with ghosts all the time, so whispers are kind of free for it, who is the kind of ghost dealing class, is either to freeze in place or to run. If you don't want this to happen, you have to roll resistance to it. So, Echo, if you want to move, if you want to just freeze, that's fine. But if you want to advance towards it, you're gonna have to roll resistance. I mean, I'm assuming, but correct me if I'm wrong, that both your reaction is to freeze rather than to run. You can choose.
I guess I think freezing makes more sense. Can I sort of like reach behind me and like sort of very, or is that like not? I suppose that's not freezing. Yeah, I guess I'll freeze in place.
Sure. I think ultimately, yeah. I think freezing, like, it doesn't work if you then do a thing. So I think you're going to have to make a resistance roll if you want to do anything physical.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my intention is to throw this thing away, and so I actually need to not be frozen in fear. So I think I'll do the resistance roll then. In which case, what I'll be doing is sort of trying to I'll go towards it, trying to bait it to come towards me as I've been instructed by whoever sold me this icon.
Sure.
And
sure, absolutely.
Try and steel myself against it.
So I think that this resistance roll, which you roll against your attributes, so this resistance roll is probably going to be resolve. Like I think that's what that is, right? It's the attribute for your attune, which is mostly dealing with ghosts. So that seems appropriate. So what you need to do is roll your resolve,
which is 1.
And then basically what happens with this, and this may be something which we need some. You might need some help with, because potentially this could be very, very bad consequences for you. So what happens when you roll resistance? Basically, this is resisting the severity of a consequence of some kind. Attribute when you roll it, you take the best results you get, and then you also take stress equal to 6 minus the highest rolled number.
So it can be up to 5 stress.
Yes, which I believe, because you're on stress 4, right?
It would be bad for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I push this roll?
I mean, you can, but that would be taking stress. So, in fact, no, you actually can't push resistance rolls anyway.
Okay. Can I accept?
I
no,
would be
can't.
happy. I think technically you're not meant to do this, but I would be happy if 3 sheets can stammer out like throw it or something, kind of to encourage you to move and do it. I would be happy for Justin to take a stress for that and give you an extra die.
I'll be on 6 stress then. But yeah, fuck it.
The possibility, if Echo takes 5 stress, Echo is out of this score.
What's your max stress?
9 is the maximum amount of stress. When you hit 9 stress, you take a trauma, and that means that you're instantly gone from the current storyline.
Never liked Echo anyway, but I'll take the stress.
Sure.
Never say I didn't help.
So you get 2 dice on this, Pierre.
Don't mess it up.
2 dice. I got a 2 and a 1.
Oh God.
Oof.
You're muted, Matt, which I assume is because we're dead.
Thank you. Yeah. No. So you take 4 stress. So your stress is now 8, right? Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah. So you don't want to take any more stress this.
Wait, no. I think I max out. I believe because I had to do the flashback, which was 2 stress.
Oh. Then yeah.
Dude. Pierre's dead. Push him off the bridge.
Okay.
Push him off. Push him off.
So,
okay.
In that case, yeah. Obviously, the significance of it isn't so much the trauma as it is you're not in this now. So, but you know what? I'm going to let you make the action roll. At least as a parting thing. What action do you want to roll?
Survive.
For your
I guess
throwing.
I would want to roll finesse.
Finesse. Okay.
So chuck it.
I would, just so you know, I would place that as a low effect because I don't think it's so much to do with where you throw it or how hard you throw it as it is like sort of
in which
a tune.
A tune, I think, would be probably the immediately ideal one. But if you don't have a tune, then you may think your chances are better with something else anyway.
Okay. I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll. I think I'm going to roll sway because I'm convincing this ghost.
I think that's a decent
go somewhere
pick.
else.
I think that's a decent pick. I'm going to say that the effect of that is standard, and I'm going to say this is a desperate roll.
Yep.
Because I think that's.
I assume I cannot push myself because I'm out of stress. So
yeah, you can't take more stress if you're fully stressed. There could always be. I'm going to offer you. I'm going to offer you a devil's bargain.
Oh yes.
Your character is dead.
Yeah, the unintended. Yeah, I'm going to offer you a devil's bargain, and I won't go into detail, but I'll tell you that it's unintended harm.
Okay.
Yeah, land on the boat.
Okay.
Yep, let's do that.
Sure. So I'll give you an extra die.
I'm now rolling 2 dice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rolling 1 dice for my sway and 1 dice for my devil's bargain, which, accept every devil's bargain you get given. And I'm rolling those dice.
That's the rule. That's the rule. You have to accept.
Roll.
5, 6. So
6.
Yes.
You do it. So that does
maximum
that.
effect.
So Echo, you kind of just find it in yourself as this apparition moves closer to you, and it's repeating those words over and over again. Walls will fall. And it's becoming louder and louder until it's almost shrieking them as it comes towards you, raising its tendril-like appendages towards you. You feverishly finally snap yourself out of it, grasp the blood-coated icon that you purchased off, and it only occurs to you now, someone who is selling a lot of very different goods on a street stall, but perhaps, and kind of fling it in one direction and then fling yourself in the other direction, desperately trying to get away from this thing, kind of not even thinking, just running as fast as you can, running so hard you barely notice when the ground beneath you stops being there. There's a brief sensation of the passage of air and then a deep, dark coldness as you plunge into the canal. Echo is leaving us for this session. We'll bring Pierre back on at the end, but can we, if we move Pierre, on, 3 sheets, the ghost swivels and drifts off in the direction of the icon. Now would be an excellent time. Yeah. You kind of run past behind it. You almost have to kind of force yourself to do so. You can feel the cold running through your veins, but you're out, you're past. You've seen Echo just dive off the side of the rooftop into the canal.
Echo's just dead, as far as I'm concerned.
You emerge on the other side of the rooftop, and ahead of you, a couple of roofs ahead, you can see Saltford Street. It is there are a number of these throughout Doskvol. Salford Street is elevated above the other streets of the docks on metal supports. It is a cramped and noisy street known for its tradespeople and craftspeople and artists. And ahead of you, you can see it now. It doesn't seem like the riots have quite reached it yet. But what you can see is a lot of crackling electricity moving across the surface of the buildings. Sometimes this happens when there's, wind or storms or just an odd byproduct of the lightning barriers. Occasionally when there are ghostly things going on, you don't know. But at least it looks quiet, unlike the riots have not reached there yet. And you know what? We're a bit before where we'd usually wrap up, but I feel that's quite a good little point. It's going to be difficult to do cliffhangers for these because of the improvisational kind of nature of them, right? And I feel that's quite a good little cutoff point there. So we might just wrap it up there. For those of you who don't watch us regularly, if you've got any questions or comments, please sling them into the chat, and Steve, our stream manager, will pop them up for us to talk about. In the meantime, why don't we? And it was kind of pointless to take Pierre off, given that we just then ended, I guess. Bring Pierre back on.
No, it's good for dramatic effect.
I'll run through some promo while Steve collects those questions and comments. So, if you check below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to Twitch or YouTube, and YouTube even. You're watching on one, why not check us out on the other? We run 3 weekly roleplay nights here on Twitch, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 8 o'clock in the evening BST. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu. Tuesdays is currently Blades in the Dark. That's what you're watching. Wednesday this week is a bit of an anomaly in that we're trying something different tomorrow, a kind of podcasty, newsy, chatty thing, quite casual. Come along, check it out. But then next week on a Wednesday, Coriolis is going to kick off, which is a wonderful game from Free League. Regularly, we usually run Vampire and Symbaroum, but they're on kind of hiatus at the moment. We also run monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. That means that this Saturday coming up is one, and it's The Expanse RPG, which Chris will be running at 3 o'clock in the afternoon BST. Also, this Sunday, because we are busy people this week, over on the Free League Twitch channel, we are running another game of Symbaroum. It's called Fetters of Stone. I think this week will be the 3rd episode. It's fortnightly. That starts at 3 o'clock as well. Come and check us out for that. There's other stuff in our links below. There's social media, Discord, Patreon, all the good stuff. But that's That's it. That's the promo. We're done with
So much stuff.
all the promo.
How do we do so much?
So much stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about our takeaways from Blades in the Dark and what this means for Echo and stuff like that as well. But in the meantime, before we do so, have we got any comments or questions from chat, please? Wendelius? I never know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Matt sounds like a proper Duskval tourist board member who wouldn't want to live there. It sounds great, doesn't it?
I was right at the start.
Ghosts, lightning barriers, poverty, riots. I mean, it's quite UK 2021, isn't it? But yeah, good stuff. Oh, and thank you. We also got 100 bits, I believe, from. Let me just double triple check. Legio Necros, thank you so much for the bits.
Cheers.
And we really appreciate it. We also had a follow tonight from Agati. Thank you. Anything else to pop up there, Steve, for us? First session of Blades in the Dark. How are you finding it? How are you getting used to the mechanics and setting? I have my own things on this, but let's throw this open to the players first, shall we? Let's go with Justin.
I think that I was concerned that we'd be dashing too quickly through all the bits to get very much RP done, but I don't actually find it's that bad. I think we're kind of quite used to thinking on our feet. I suppose the only thing to watch out for is that everyone gets a chance to participate in the plans, and that it seems like it can quite easily become dominated by one group or one person.
I agree. I think quarterbacking could be a real problem in this game if you don't kind of jump on it or whatever.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole thing. Even though, obviously I suffered trauma, but I think that's kind of the point.
You had so much fun you fell in the canal.
I did. I think it's really good that it goes, hey, cut to the most interesting, like an actual challenge that you are facing and not just the procedural stuff. It always has to be like something that you're overcoming. How are you overcoming that thing? And I think that focusing it like that makes it so that you, and also so that you focus on it. And also the planning thing, I think is great because like the whole flashbacks and being like, I came prepared for this ghost with my ghost dummy. Now watch as I jump off a building.
Yeah.
You were so well prepared, unfortunately, poorly executed.
And speaking of that, I think there is in the book, if I recall, because I remember reading it thinking it doesn't really exactly say. I think when you get trauma, it says you come back sometime later.
Yeah.
So I don't think you have to be gone for the entire score, but I think the idea is it's at least a significant portion of the current thing, if not the whole. If not, you're back at downtime or whatever. I think it depends on when it happens and what you want to do.
Isn't it? Yeah. Is part of it supposed to be you're supposed to have engaged with your vice, like you kind of retreat into your vice for a little bit, or am I misremembering those?
I don't think that has to have been what happens, but when you come back with trauma, your vice is considered resolved for the next downtime.
That's what it was, yeah.
So yeah,
you have some kind of new aspect.
Yeah, you have a trauma which is picked from a list, and it's like an ongoing thing that you can role play and even get XP for. So in some senses, having at least one trauma is an advantage. But when you get to 4 trauma, you do wave goodbye to a character in one form or another.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good. I think that the main thing I would imagine is difficult is gauging how much stress you should be assigning for flashbacks and things and figuring that out. Because, obviously I did a couple of flashbacks basically, but they were quite stressful. And that kind of pushed me massively over the edge. And there's not that many ways of improving your die pool for a given thing, except for taking on stress. So it's kind of inevitable it'll happen unless somebody else offers a devil's bargain,
which has its own issues, obviously. I think this is my gut reaction to that, is that I would say it's probably a good idea to employ the stress mechanic, but pace it to a certain degree so you don't end up in too risky situations. And I think also there's an interesting thing that don't be afraid to fail rolls.
Yeah.
Because my roll's really, I'm only rolling one die. Well, see what happens. because like very rarely does the mechanics result in no way forward. It just kind of rolls you into worse circumstances or adds complications or stuff like that. But you can kind of like fail forward to a certain degree, right?
And like,
so
if you were playing like Dungeons and Dragons or something, and someone told you that you had to roll over 10 on the D20 to get it, like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Like I feel like whereas because it kind of just feels like only 50% is or like of succeeding is a bad situation, but actually it's like that's probably about on average for what you roll on most roles in most role-playing games.
50% success, 75% on 2. I'm not calculating.
Although I still, I don't know. Even though there is that fail forward mechanic, I do still think that eventually you're going to have to roll a dice, and that's like, like, you're probably...
like absolutely. It's just I think that don't. Like I think and this is just my gut feeling on it. Like it's nothing else. I would just say like. Pacing stress, because like I think gaining stress and trauma is an important part of it, but I also think that like there is a risk, as we've done. It's not a risk because the story's still going to be great and fun. It's just like there is a risk of someone having to step away where they don't, and that's the real punishment, I think, not the trauma. The trauma's fun and role playing. The punishment, as it were, is like you're not in it now.
I think one of the other difficulties is that obviously you're assigning stress after I have said, oh, I'm going to have a flashback. So I've already committed to the flashback before I think
you can refuse the flashback. I think you can refuse the flashback based on if you think it's
because I was sort of going like, if I suddenly go, wait, I'm getting a tiny little benefit from this like crap thing that doesn't actually really do very much, but it's going to cost me like all of my remaining stress.
It worked.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like you might go like, oh, it's not worth it. But like, if you can obviously take it back, that changes that dynamic a bit.
I think you can, and maybe that's something we should have said. But I think you can. Yeah, I think anything that's offered to you, whether it's Devil's Bargain or like anything like that, can be like, oh no, I'm okay.
Yeah, I won't.
And I think so. But I guess the flip side is by saying that you're doing a flashback, like one could say that's the commitment to do it. Like, so I don't know which way that falls in the rule book, if at all. But I'm happy for it to be refused. Cool. It just, like, I guess the risk is that you go into the flashback in detail, and then in the end, it's like, okay, 2 stress, and you're like, don't bother. And it's like been 5 minutes of discussion or whatever. But like, it's something we can agree on before the next session.
I probably just never refuse.
I think it makes sense for it to be refusable.
Sure.
Is there also maybe scope for negotiating flashbacks? Like, I want a flashback that does this. Like, okay, that's 2 stress.
This much stress.
Okay, can I do it less for 1 stress?
Yeah.
Can I make it a less good thing for like a little bit? Yeah,
I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, that's probably it.
And I think that's probably the intent of it, but I can't say for sure because actually flashbacks, one of the things in the book, which if I had to, it's a good book, but if I had to level anything, flashbacks are super vague as to what they're even meant to do, because I know they don't add dice, but what do they do? It actually doesn't really say, I don't think. So I've been just using it as like increast effect or like better positioning or something like that.
I like what we did with the documents because, like, I in my mind, the documents already were things like papers to get you through things, but they're not really, I suppose. And I like that we could kind of go, what if the documents were a thing that was specifically relevant with the flashback? That made loads of sense to me.
Yeah,
it's good. When it comes together, it's really nice. Sam, I don't think. Is there anything from you?
I really enjoyed it. I like that it got straight to the action part. I do think, like, from the sounds of it, there'll be like a bit more kind of like general RP in like the off score moments, like before and after.
I think so.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think one thing about the stress is that perhaps sometimes it's better to take a risky roll and then resist with stress if you fuck up.
Yeah, maybe.
Which
is very a chance, obviously, because like Pierre got super unlucky rolling that 1 and the 2.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, right? That's XCOM. So from my perspective, one thing that interestingly, the thing I thought I'd struggle with was the effect and the positioning, like the kind of complications of the action rolls. The thing I actually struggled with was how much agency to take for myself. like how much to describe. Not so much. I think that it's fairly agreed in Blades of the Dark that the effects of things are the GM's purview, but like how to kind of describe. Yeah, it just
options
like
the players have and things like that.
Yeah, and like when it comes like bringing things out of pure cloth, like the things that occurred to me with specifically was when I said, "Oh," and you turn around and as you're scrambling up, you see there's a fucking blue coat right there. And like one of the things that occurred to me, even if as I said that, was what if Pierre had gone? Echo would have looked. Like, why wouldn't Echo look? But obviously, like Pierre's someone who's very into the like kind of improvisation, or like, oh, you're in this circumstance sort of thing. So it's fine, but I can imagine some players being like, well, why wouldn't I have looked, you know? But
or like in that situation, you could do like even a flashback saying, oh, well, I was aware of this because 5 seconds ago I looked. Or something.
No, you have to flash back to before the score.
Fair enough then.
And also that's no.
Too powerful, too crazy.
But the thing is, that's the result of a roll as well. Like I didn't just go, oh, and there's this crazy shit. It was literally because Pierre had taken a desperate roll and had rolled a success with a consequence. That was the consequence. But I get for a lot of players who might be a bit more not happy with having a character's action determined for them because the action was Echo didn't look right or lack of action, whatever. So I guess it's like how much agency I'm taking as the GM and how much, because in another game I wouldn't have done that. In another game I would have immediately described that there was a blue. If I'd intended for a blue coat to be there, I would have described that. But because I was making it up as a consequence, so it's interesting. It's quite different.
Totally okay with that. And I'm like definitely on board with you just being like, yep, there's somebody there, and I'm like,
I'm fucked up.
I think it's up to the player actually to, if they are unhappy with that, to be like, I was briefly distracted by like a glint of something on the street, and that made me not see this guy. And it's like, it's not like I'm versus I'm trying to beat the GM. It's like, no, we're telling a story. So why didn't you see the blue coat?
Why in role play terms did you not do that? Echo, as you say, distracted by something or like, it's
also up to me to come up with a good excuse for that. Why that is the case.
There's also, to an extent, a realization that as a player that sometimes your character isn't as good at stuff as you want them to be. Like in this, you want your character to be a crack criminal who jumps across the rooftops and always looks where they're going. It's like they're a level 1 character. They ain't shit.
Sure.
I want my
if you were
character
that
to be
good, they wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
I think you're still meant in this to be competent. Like, I mean, 50% success rate, right? With just one die, it's
50%
pretty solid.
It works all the time.
So there we go.
That's our slogan.
That is our slogan. So thank you very much, folks. We're hitting around that time now. Thank you very much to everyone watching this. Our new series of Blades in the Dark. We'll be back with it next Tuesday. Thank you very much to the players and to Steve, our wonderful stream manager. And we'll see you next week and the rest of this week as well. You're all going to turn up for all of them, right? The podcasting thing tomorrow, the Expanse one shot on Saturday, Simbroom over on Free League on Sunday. I'm sure you. Why don't I even ask? Of course, you're going to be there.
Why are you even telling them? They know already.
They know. They've got it marked on there, etched into their fucking
on their wall calendars.
Forebrain.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Just had to be more extreme with it. So thanks, folks. Edgelord, us Gen Xers. So thanks, folks. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.